He had another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast where today we're going over NFL Week 7. Again, first things first, make sure you give this video a like, a subscribe. Make sure you go over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there is social media, there is Stats and Stacks ready to make you some money. Welcome to Buy Coblips. A lot of buys starting, a lot of valuable buys with the Bills, with the Eagles, a lot of exciting, the Vikings, a lot of exciting and high-powered offenses are not going to be on the field on Sunday and Monday. So it is what it is. At least at the end of the day, you're getting it over with, and then they'll always be back after this. So again, a lot of weird games this week, but we're going to hop right into it, try to figure out where to make the money and where to make the fantasy start. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to start with the very first game listed on here. We have the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Atlanta Falcons. We have the over-under set at 47.5. That's interesting. Bengals 6.5-point favorites. I mean, obviously, you're going to say the Bengals are the better team, especially at home. I do think they win this matchup. Do they cover 6.5? Naturally, I would say yes. I think I'm going to have to say yes. It's just Atlanta's covered every single game this year. But now people are talking about the fact that they always cover. And usually when you hop on a train late, that's when it falls apart. And I think that's what's going to happen here. So I'll take the Bengals to cover. On a fantasy perspective, you're looking at, for the Falcons, you can start Kyle Pitts. I mean, the Bengals they're in the middle of the pack in regards to the tight end. And I mean, you drafted him so high, you have to start him. Marcus Mariota, I think he's going to struggle this week. I think he's going to be a sneaky streamer, a pretty good start the ensuing few weeks here, but this is not the one. On their running back side, God, you can't start Tyler Algier. You can't start Huntley. You can't start Avery. He goes in there and keeps scoring touchdowns. Like, you can't start any of these running backs. It's a three-way timeshare, and it's god-awful. In regards to Drake London, I don't think this is the matchup. Cincinnati defense is not that bad. So I'm honestly not starting any Falcons if I can avoid it. If you have Pitts, again, you're probably going to have to play him. Otherwise, I'm not playing anyone. On the Bengals side, the complete opposite. You're going to start Joe Burrow. I think he's going to be a top 5 QB this week. I think T. Higgins is going to go off. I think Jamar Chase is going to go off. I think Joe Mixon's going to go off. I mean, this Falcons D is not the greatest, and you can definitely pass on them. So I think this is a big Joey week. Even Hayden Hurst, if you want to, you can start their defense. Honestly, you can start every aspect of this Bengals team, in all honesty, in regards to fantasy. Then the next game is one where I'm not scared of the Cowboys, man. We have the Detroit Lions as 7-point dogs, over under set at 49. Dude, I like the over. It's a Lions game. I know the last one didn't hit, but they got blanked. I don't think that's going to happen again. Amon-Ra's coming back healthy. Swift is coming back healthy. They're getting their team back together, and I think they're going to be the old Lions. So I think they cover, but I like the over a lot more because Cowboys, they also have some returning starters in Dak Prescott. We saw a return of Zeke Elliott last week in regards to just looking good. So on a fantasy perspective, you're going to start Amon-Ra. I'm not scared of Diggs. Diggs gets a lot of takeaways, but he also gives up a ton of yards, and that is perfect for Amon-Ra. You're going to start Swift. I think you can get away with no. Even though Jamal Williams is their goal line back, I don't really want to start him. I think the Lions are going to get a shit ton of yards, but if they're in a lot of explosive plays, but up close, they'll struggle in the red zone a little. I think they're going to score from a distance. So I like Swift. I like Amon-Ra. I'm not the biggest fan of Hawkinson here. I think he was just a thing because everyone else was hurt. I don't really like Goff here. I do just kind of like Amon-Ra and Swift the more I talk about it. On the flip side, I like Zeke and Pollard. This Lions defense is awful. You start everyone. CD should go crazy. Zeke should go crazy. Dak should go crazy. I think everyone is going to go nuts. Dalton Schultz nursing a knee injury. If you can start someone else, I would. If you're forcing to starting him, that's fine. The Lions are so bad on defense. The pick are going to be the Cowboys, but I like the over as a bet. Then we are looking at the Colts, a rematch. Colts versus Titans, over under set at 42. Yeah, in division makes sense. Tennessee is the -2.5 point favorite at home. Just beat them by like 5 earlier. I think it was like 17-20, some 22 or something weird like that. Their first meeting. Jonathan Taylor got hurt that game. Jonathan Taylor's coming back healthy. So I think it's going to be a different game. I think that the Derrick Henry should go off again. I think he had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns last time. I think he's going to go crazy again. But they have Jonathan Taylor this time. Michael Pittman's back healthy. The Tennessee defense is not good. I'll actually take the Colts with the upset here. And that's probably the way I bet it. I think it's just dog or pass. I think I'll take the road. Yeah, I'll take the Colts here, coming back healthy. On a fantasy perspective, you start Jonathan Taylor clearly. I like Alec Pierce in this game. I think that's a sneaky DFS play. You're going to start Michael Pittman for where you drafted him. I don't like any of the tight ends. I'll never like it because I can't pick them. I don't like Matt Ryan here. I just like Pittman yards. I like Alex. Yeah, I like Pittman and Alec Pierce, and then obviously Jonathan Taylor. For the Titans, you start Derrick Henry, and I think that's it. I don't want to mess around with Robert Woods really. I don't want to deal with any of that. I think it's just Derrick Henry or guy. Then the next game, we have the Packers going up against the Washington Commanders. Over under set at 41.5. Packers are 4.5 point road favorites, and I agree. I think this Commanders team is pretty bad, even with Taylor Heineke. It's not that big of a drop off, but it's still a little bit. I mean, Carson wasn't playing that bad to start this year. He had Carson Wentz moments, but he also had some, old Eagles Carson Wentz moments as well. So, but I'm going to take the Packers to cover here. The Packers are losing to all New York teams. Washington is not from New York, so they should win. But no, they're sick of losing back to back. They've lost back to back games under the LaFleur era for the first time. I don't think they're going to lose back to back to back. I think they're going to get their shit together and win this one. Keep an eye on it. Rodgers has been hurt, but I think he practiced in full today, so he should be fine. On the flip side for fantasy, I know I just said he's hurt, but I think you can start Rodgers against this defense. Allen Lazard should be fine. Basically, Washington's pass defense is not good. So, although I would love to say to start like AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, I don't think you start AJ Dillon here. If you start any running backs, it's Aaron Jones getting work out of the passing game. Randall Cobb hurt, so I think Romeo Doubs is going to go off. I think he's going to slide into that role. We're going to see a lot of Lazard and Doubs, and then Aaron Jones getting some work in the passing game underneath. On the flip side for the Commanders, you can start Brian Robinson if you have to. Not the worst play. I feel like he's going to get you like 65 yards and like 3 catches. That's probably about it. Nothing too crazy. I don't trust any of that receiving core with Taylor Heineke, to be 100% honest with you. I don't like any of it. So I'm probably just starting Brian Robinson and moving on. Then the next game, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the hurt Panthers. Over under set at 40. Tampa Bay are 11-point favorite. So obviously implied totals, they don't think the Panthers are going to score much. And I don't think they do either with PJ Walker. I was almost inclined to take the Bucks. I am. I think I still am. I think the Bucks cover the 11. I know they let me down covering last week, but I think they'll cover this time. I'll probably do the bet too. On a fantasy perspective, you're going to start them all. I think Lenny Fournette's going to go crazy this game. Mike Evans could still have a decent game, but I don't know how much they'll have to throw. Chris Godwin should be fine, and Tom Brady should be fine, in all honesty. On the Panthers front, you're going to start CMC clearly. With Robbie gone, I don't really want to mess with Terrence Marshall in this matchup. I don't know what PJ Walker is going to do. It's all a mess. You just start CMC, and I guess you can. I don't know what to do with DJ Moore. I don't want to trust it really. I'm probably just trusting CMC and calling it a day. Then the next game, we have the 5-1 New York Giants going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over under set at 43. Jacksonville is a 3-point favorite. They're at home, makes sense. Basically, I pick them. So, the 2 New York teams confuse the hell out of me. I don't know what to do. I'll say the I think the Giants win. Give me the Giants. Fuck it. Dable. They're always really, really slow starters and they come back and win in the end. They'll do it again. They did it against Green Bay. They did it against the Ravens. Why can't they do it against Jacksonville? We have, on a fantasy perspective, you're going to start Saquon. He's the best running back in the league right now. Danny Dimes, sneaky start. You can start him. Receiving core, if you want to, I would give Wan'Dale Robinson one more week, and then you can probably fire him up. Because Darius Toney may play this week. I don't know what's going on there. And did their tight end's name Sims or what? I did actually screw it. Just start Saquon, call it a day. And Danny Dimes if you want. Naked Danny Dimes and Saquon are the way I'd go. For Jacksonville, you can play. I don't know, man. Because James Robinson and Travis Etienne are contingent on who's winning, and I think the Giants might sneak this game. So I don't want to. I guess I'd start Etienne. Trevor Lawrence, not really interested. Zay Jones, sneaky goods play. I think that the Christian Kirk magic is over. Whatever that run was at start the year, I think it's gone. I don't know, man. The Jags are a weird team. I don't know what to do with them. I guess ETN and for DFS you can play Zay Jones. He gets a shit ton of targets. That's it. I don't trust Christian Kirk. I don't trust Trevor. I don't trust any of them, honestly. All right. Then the next game we are looking at the Browns versus the Ravens. We have the Ravens as 6.5 point road or 6.5 point favorites. Over under set at 45.5. And I love that over. Give me the over all day, every day. Both these defenses have been playing awful. Both their offensive have been fine. So I think it's going to be a scoring extravaganza, similar to the Chargers Browns game. So I'll take the over there as the bet. I'll pick Baltimore to win at home. On a on a fantasy perspective, watch Lamar's health status. I know he's been hurt. Rashad Bateman should come back. I don't think he'll be on a pitch count at all. I don't really want to start him right away anyway. Let me see something first. If J.K. Dobbins is hurt, you can start Kenyon Drake. Keep an eye out for that injury report. The Ravens, basically, you could start Kenyon Drake, Lamar Jackson, Rashad Bateman, all contingent on the injury report. I can't confidently say to start anyone until Sunday when that thing comes out. On the flip side, for the Browns, you're going to start Nick Chubb. Dude, I think if you have to stream, again, Josh Allen's on bye, Kirk Cousins is on bye, Jalen Hurts is on bye. Do you want to stream Jacoby? Dude, that Ravens secondary is not good. So I wouldn't hate it being a Donovan People-Jones or Cooper week. If you want to get real crazy, you can kind of stack the Browns here. You're going to play, obviously, Chubb, but you can stack them in DFS with Brissett and Cooper or Brissett and Jones if you want to be contrarian. That's only if you want to be contrarian. I'll probably have a Lou like that in all honesty. All right. The next game is that other New York game that is confusing the hell out of me. We have the New York Jets at 4-2 going up against the Denver Broncos. Denver is a 1-point favorite here at home. So they're implied that the Jets should win. I don't know here. If it was normal turf, would it be the Jets? I don't know. The Jets are better, but they're not that good. They're a little overrated. They have some sketchy wins on their record. Over under set at 37.5. I might be inclined to take the under. I think there's going to be the opposite of the last game. It'd be a very low scoring event. As a bet, give me the Broncos to cover. I mean, just give me the Broncos money line. In regards to fantasy, you're going to start Breece Hall. I'm not starting any of the Jets receivers against the Broncos D. The Broncos D is very, very good. One of the best defensive units in football. They're on the field a lot because their offense has got awful. I'm going to sit Cortland Sutton this week. I love Cortland Sutton year long. I'm not playing him with a hurt Russ or a backup QB against Sauce Gardner. I am not doing that. So sit Cortland. On the flip side, Jerry, unless he's not shadowing, I don't know. I'm assuming Sauce is going to shadow Cortland. If not, whatever. But I'm not confident in him this week. If anything, I'm confident in Breece Hall. And on the Broncos side, that's probably about it. I don't know what's going on with the running backs. I know Melvin Gordon is supposed to be the starter, but he gave an interview saying, well, he was the starter last week and he didn't get touches. So I don't know, man. I don't trust Lat Murray. I don't trust Gordon. I don't trust. You start their tight end. I like Dulcich. You can start him. That's about it, honestly. Not fucking with Judy, with Hamler, with Russ. I don't want any of that. I like Brees Hall a lot in this matchup, and that's probably it. I love the under. All right. Then the next game, we are looking at the Houston Texans going up against the going up against the Raiders. Raiders are 7-point favorites at home, justifiably. So over under set at 45.5. I like the under here. I think the Raiders should roll, though. They're just the overall better team. Yes, they only have one win on the season, but they've had a lot of heartbreaking losses, all by one possession. Out of fantasy perspective, you can start Dameon Pierce for the Texans, and that's it. I'm not starting anyone else. I know I have a league where I'm forced to start like Nico Collins. I don't feel good about it. He gets like 6 targets a game, but don't start him unless you don't have to. Dameon Pierce or die. Otherwise, on the Raider side, you're going to start a lot of them. You're going to start Josh Jacobs. You're going to start Devontae Adams. You can stream Derek Carr, to be honest with you. This Texans D isn't that great. All in all, I think the Raiders roll here. I think they cover, and I think you can start their main guys, the Adams and the Jacobs, and call it a day. I don't know what Waller's health is like. He missed practice this week, so I don't know what's happening there. All right, then the next game, we are looking at the Seattle Seahawks going up against the Chargers. Chargers are 5-point home favorites, as they should be. I know they looked absolutely terrible in prime time against the Broncos, but that's every Broncos game. They do it to everybody. Besides the Seahawks rolled them. But the over-under set at 50. You know what? Let's get crazy. Give me the over. And for a fantasy perspective, fire up everyone. Start Lockett, start DK, start Geno Smith. You can start Ken Walker. You can start everyone on the Seahawks side. Will Disley, start them all. I don't think the Chargers D is that great. JC Jackson benched. Like, it's a mess over there in Los Angeles. But on the flip side, the Seahawks D is god-awful too. So start Eckler, start Mike Williams. I don't think Keenan Allen's going to be here. They're on bye next week, so I think he's just going to sit one more week and then come back. So anytime Keenan Allen's not on the field, I start Mike Williams. I think Gerald Everett's a sneaky play. Josh Palmer's hurt and not playing this week, so I don't know. You can start, what is his name? DeAndre Carter. I think he's a pretty good start. I think he's a sneaky DFS play more than anything, but if he slides into that Palmer role, I think he'll be perfectly fine. But I do like Everett, Williams, Eckler. And yeah, fuck it. I like Carter too. I like them all. Start literally everyone in this matchup. Now, obviously, you'll start Herbert. On the flip side, we have the Kansas City Chiefs coming off a defeat to the Buffalo Bills, Super Bowl champs. Going up against the San Fran 49ers, over under set at 48.5. I don't know, man. Chiefs 2.5-point favorites on the road. I think it's sketchy. It's all contingent on how healthy San Francisco is. If San Francisco gets all their starters back, they get Nick Bosa back. They get all they lost last week to the Falcons because they were playing all of their backups. If their starters come back healthy, if they sat them to win this game against Kansas City, I think it's a lot closer than people give it credit for. I think the 49ers are live dogs. I think they can win at home, but they have to be healthy. So I'll pick the 49ers, and I'm going to bet the 49ers, hoping that they're healthy. If they're not, I'm flipping all the way to Kansas City. But in regards to a fantasy perspective, you're not touching any of the fantasy wide receivers for Kansas City anyway. You're going to start Pat Mahomes, you're going to start Travis Kelce, and you're going to stop there. You're not going to touch the running backs. They're a RBBC. You're not going to start their receivers. They're a receiving core by committee. Screw all that. Kelce, Mahomes, book it. On the flip side, you're going to start Debo, clearly. The Chiefs defense isn't that good. I think you can stream Jimmy G, as gross as that sounds. You can probably play Brandon Ayuk too if you want. George Kittle, you're going to be forced to start. He hasn't been crushing this year, but he's still better than other tight ends. And yeah, you can target this Chiefs defense, to be honest with you. I'm not going to start Jeff Wilson, though, if I think that they're losing. Jeff Wilson only goes off if they're winning. I think they win the game, but I think it's close. And again, I need to see this injury report. So I'm just going to start the 2 receivers in Kittle, and I'm going to start the tight end and quarterback for Kansas City. And then that takes us to our Sunday night game. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the Miami Dolphins, the return of Tua. Over under set at 44.5. I do like the over there in regards to the pick and bet. I'll pick the Dolphins to win. I don't know. Something tells me if the Steelers get Minkah Fitzpatrick back and some of their other, I think Sutton sat last week, if they get some of their defensive players back, I'm going to pick the Steelers to cover. I think they can cover, man. On a fantasy perspective, I like – I don't like anyone on the Steelers. I don't know if it's Kenny Pickett or if it's Trubisky. I think it's going to be Pickett. I don't like Pickens. I can't do it. You can start Deontay because of where you drafted him, and that's probably it, man. You have to start Najee, but you don't feel good about it. Najee hasn't been doing great this year. So start Najee, start Deontay, leave it alone. Do not chase the Claypool performance last week. Not going to happen again this year. On the flip side, Tyreek Hill, I was wrong on. I don't have enough exposure to him in some of my leagues. He's going to go off again as always. Jalen Waddle's hurt. I don't know, man. You have to start him just in the off chance, but don't be surprised if he doesn't do much because he's hurt. Mike Gesicki, I don't really want to chase that in this matchup. I don't think this is the one. And their running backs, Mostert. I don't trust Chase Edmonds. I don't trust any of the Miami running backs. Never have, never will. So just start those 2 big receivers, call it a day. If you want to stream Tua, honestly, you probably can. And then that takes us to the last game. We have the no passing Chicago Bears going up against the no passing New England Patriots. Over under set at 39.5 for that reason. Patriots 7.5 point favorites. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be Bailey Zappi. I don't know about 7.5. Yeah, give it to me because I know Belichick. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah, I'll take the Patriots to cover the 7.5. In regards to the over/under, yeah, I'll take the under, even though it's only their 9.5. I don't think these teams score very well. For a fantasy perspective, that's not going to make it exciting. The Bears, you can start Montgomery. You can start no one else. I don't like Mooney. I don't like Justin Fields here. I don't like anyone. David Montgomery or die. And then on the flip side, Ramondre Stevenson should lose his mind again. And I'm not starting any of these receivers. Technically, you could start Jacoby Myers, I guess. Don't chase the Tyquan Thornton performance from last week. Don't chase that. There's a lot of outliers from last week that everyone's going to want to chase because they're all just sitting out on the waiver wire. There's a reason they're on the waiver wire. There's a reason they're minimum in DraftKings and FanDuel. Don't chase those points. Leave them alone. They had their week. It's over. Don't chase it. Just stick with the basics. So Jacoby and Stevenson, and then just Mounty on the other side. And that's week 7. Again, not the most exciting in regards to matchups, but again, it's football. I'm not complaining. What I'm doing is winning money, baby. Let's get it.